Good morning, fans of the new network. It is James Ernest here on Sarah's playlist with Irish rocker Mark Daly. Mark, it is a pleasure having you with us today.
James, it's a pleasure being on. Thank you very much for having me.
So, when did you first fall in love with music?
As early as I can remember, I think. I always pinpointed to hearing Sinead O'Connor on the radio when I was a kid and hearing her voice and the Nothing Compares to You cover, the Prince cover that she did, and just being like blown away from as early as I can remember. Yeah.
That is awesome. So, that kind of inspired you and made you feel like that you could achieve things?
Yeah, I think like I used to sing in the choir and I used to play instruments. Like I always moved around from instrument to instrument, so I always like loved music. But as soon as I hit the teenage years and got into the band thing, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Nice. So, when did you learn to play the guitar?
I was late enough to the guitar actually. Because the previous band I was in, I just sang, I didn't play any guitar. And then I guess I was in my early 20s, which was late enough. I was playing bass and trumpet and piano and stuff beforehand, but yeah, in the 20s.
So, tell us about being discovered by Brian Message.
Yeah, we're playing a show out in Spain, and I think he was on a golfing trip. And it was just luck of the Irish, I suppose, that we're in this bar playing some tunes that night, and there were our own original songs that he was listening to and like. And that was kind of the start of like thinking of this as a profession, because we were like, if we can impress somebody like that, and we went and recorded an EP with him, then I was like, okay, maybe this is something I could do for as a career, and that never looked back since.
Oh, awesome. So that's the day when you decided you were going to be a full-time musician?
Yeah, yeah. Everybody in the band on that day was like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and we got stuck into it and loved it.
Awesome. Why were why were you and the Voodoos chosen to perform at the MTV EAA Awards or EMA?
We Yeah, they had a big this big online competition, and there was bands from all over Europe that applied for it, and we had just released a single that and it was kind of a kind of pop rocky song. It wasn't very heavy considering the style now, but we submitted that track, and it went from like 10,000 bands down to 10, and we were still in it, and then it was five, and then it was three, and then when we got the phone call that we got the slot, it was amazing. I remember that being a real standout moment.
Oh gosh, yeah, I was going to say for such a prestigious event, I mean that had to have been phenomenal. What was it like when you got up there on stage for that event?
It was pretty nerve-wracking. It was pretty nerve-wracking. It was the first experience with a really big crowd, and it was kind of just like overwhelming. But I think we went out there and just once the song started, it was fine and got through it.
I can imagine this was a tough decision for you, but why did you choose to go solo?
I think the band kind of ran its course, and we'd released a record. We toured a couple of times in the US, and it just got to the point where, and a couple of the guys that from Ireland stayed in America anyway. So it kind of we all just went different kind of ways, and I went back home to Ireland and just I regrouped what I wanted to do, and I became a dad. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do this solo, and I did the solo record shortly after that, and then now I'm kind of back with the band, like because it's Mark Daly and the Ravens when we're on tour, so we're a five-piece band, and it's kind of back to that rock sound that I really love and just absolutely adore playing live.
But it sounds like you all left on good terms.
Yeah, yeah, it was really good. It just we all kind of knew that that was kind of running its course, you know.
Awesome. Do you attribute your solo success to your time in the Voodoos and how it prepared you?
Definitely, yeah. I think without that time and without that experience and without that writing knowledge and everything, that it wouldn't have been possible to go solo.
I mean, it must feel great to start out of the gate going number one on the art as a solo artist.
It was amazing. The support that I got behind, I didn't know what to expect. I think it came out and I woke up and it was like straight into number one in the charts back home. I was like, couldn't believe it, and was really, really grateful for that support. And it's just been growing. And yeah, another song out this week, and it's just the releases keep on coming.
This is probably my favorite one. How did your son inspire your song, Your World?
That was just written honestly, like straight from the heart. Like I remember sitting down and that song poured out of me. And it was a time where my son wasn't speaking very much. He was nonverbal for quite a while, but then the words started coming, and I was trying to get as much out of him as possible, and kind of me go into his world as opposed to try and force him to come into our world, you know. And I remember writing that song, and my wife was like, "You have to release that," and I was like, "It's too personal. It's too personal. It's too different to what I usually do." And she was like, "That's the exact reason why you should." And to this day, I'm so glad that I did because I've met people all over the world and got messages from all over the world from people that could really relate to the song and the lyrics, which was amazing.
Yeah, you got another one because yeah, my son Owen, he's autistic. So through gosh, first couple of grades of school, he was nonverbal. He also has prune belly syndrome, so he has medical issues on top of it. And it,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, I'd be lying if I had a dry eye.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's so amazing about the song is that like that people can really relate to it because I think because I wrote it so honestly and so vulnerably, like being vulnerable and just letting the emotion come out, I think that was important. And I kind of learned from that song onwards to write more from the heart and not to write in riddles because of fear of being embarrassed about speaking truly, you know? So yeah, that was kind of the kickstart to a different style of songwriting for me.
Definitely. I mean, that is just so beautiful that you have such a strong connection with your son and that he means so much
Thank you.
to you. Welcome.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
My pleasure. Another huge night in your life was meeting the owner of One Opportunity Records. Tell us about that night.
Yes, I met Mike and Diane in Belfast in Ireland at a show, and we finished our set, and they came up and they were like, "Oh, really loved your set, and like, what label are you with? What management are you with?" And I was like, "No, nothing." I was like, "I'm doing all this on my own," and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna start something," and they were from the US, and they came back to the US and set up the label, and we've been working together since, and it's been an incredible journey so far. They've been amazing. We're out on the road with Mr. Big right now in the US. A couple of more shows with them, a couple of headline shows, new music. Couldn't be shooting music videos today. So it's all go, go, go in a really positive way.
Oh, definitely. I was going to say, it sounds so exciting. I can imagine, gosh, just how your life has changed and evolved over the last, a bit of time.
Big time, big time. And I'm very grateful for it.
And then one of the other things that, I mean, gosh, it's got to be amazing. You have the pleasure of recording at the famed Sonic Ranch studio with Grammy nominated producer Brian Virtue. Am I saying it right?
Virtue, yeah.
Virtue.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I mean, gosh, he was just able to capture your band's raw energy and still allow you to be creative at the same time. How was he able to do that?
Because he let us be creative. He just like from the minute you walked into the studio, he was kind of like, I'm just going to let you guys figure it out. I'll tell you when it's bad, but you figure out how to make it good. And that was really cool as opposed to someone coming in and being like, wanting to change everything and getting overly involved. So his like attitude and the way he worked was amazing and it rubbed off on us very, very well. I think he got the absolute best out of us on these new songs.
Oh, definitely. And then, how were you able to have such fierce vocals?
I don't know. I just don't. I don't know what. Sometimes not knowing what you're doing is the best, you know. Because I've never got lessons or done anything like that. Just go out there and shout into the microphone for a bit.
You mentioned after your son for your song or song for your son, your world, your writing had matured. Um,
Yeah.
How did the process change, or are you writing the same way but more from the heart, or is it are you structuring it differently?
Definitely, like I'm more I feel like I'm more able to write like about personal things now since that song and not be afraid of like repercussions or anybody getting upset or it's like, is that about me? Or like, because a lot of songwriters think like that they think, oh, this person's going to think I'm saying this, that, and really that's just in our heads. It's like, I think it's important to write just 100% honestly and not worry about anything like that. And it's the big game changer in terms of songwriting for me and getting those songs out because I end up like, feeling so much better and resolving issues that need to be resolved through music, which is amazing.
Obviously, for your different shows, your albums, your songs, you get such great reviews. But I think this might be possibly your best compliment, being called the Irish Eddie Vedder. How does that feel?
I've heard that a couple of times and I was like, no way. But it was very nice to hear it. And yeah, grateful for that compliment.
The thing about your music that I'm most impressed with is how you're able to blend classic and modern rock and do it so smoothly. Is that intentional?
Yes, I think so. Um, like myself and James, the lead guitar player in the band, we've done some writing together, and he would be into classic rock as much as I would, like Pink Floyd influences and Led Zeppelin and all these great classic bands. And then we also listen to Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters, like it's highly suspect bands like that. And we kind of blend the two out of just love for the two, as opposed to like trying to be, you know just we both have the kind of same taste for music, which is really, really nice. And I think the new record that we've just done in El Paso really shows the different styles. Like there's a couple of tracks on it that are deep, dark ballads that have definitely got Pink Floyd influences. And then we've got the straight up rock and roll that could sound like a Foo Fighters track. So we've got like a really nice blend between the two.
Nice. That's phenomenal. You had mentioned about your tour with Mr. Big. I understand you grew up listening to his music, so I can imagine, or their music. I can imagine how excited you were. Tell us a little bit about that when you first heard that you were going to be touring with them.
Yeah, I remember I used to work in a bar when I was a teenager and I used to play Mr. Big's album through the speakers and I was singing along behind the bar and just working away. And when we found out I met Eric at a show, Eric Martin at a show in Ireland, in Dublin. And he was super nice, really, really cool guy. It was a kind of solo show that was playing. And when the tour came about and we got the call that we got the tour, I was like, couldn't believe we're going out with Mr. Big, and especially to be part of their farewell tour is really special.
Nice. Congratulations on your new single, I Want to Be More. Um, how have fans and critics been responding to it?
It seems to be really positive so far. The hard thing is we've been since it was released on Friday, and I don't even know what date it is. It's getting into that part of the tour. Um,
Yeah.
since it was released, I feel we've just been go 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 go, and haven't got a chance to sit down and kind of like do that like the big online promo that bands have to do, But the messages that I've been seeing coming in have been really positive. It's like it's a fun rock song. It's not overly serious. It's just like, it's a bit of fun and a bit nice energy. And playing it live on this tour has been amazing. So it's great to see the reaction to it. And it's great to see people queuing up at the end of the shows buying the new record.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was going to say Devil's Arms. I mean, it's getting great responses. Tell us about some of the other tracks on that upcoming album.
Yeah, so we only have it for sale at shows on this. So the album's not out till July, but it's exclusively on
Ooh,
sale at the merch, which we thought was kind of something cool to do, and just have it out there before it comes up online. So every few weeks, like every 4 weeks, we're going to have a new single out. So we're doing it a little bit differently than we've done before. And the next single is a song called Pieces, and that features the lead singer of band Dead Sarah, Emily Armstrong, who I'm a massive fan of. So that was another kind of pinch me moment of the last year, was to collaborate with her. And then we've got a couple of more singles just coming every few weeks, and they're just really kind of there's some different moods. There's a song on it called You Lie, and there's a song on it called Brighter Days that are those are the deep dark ones that I also really love writing in that style. So it's got a really cool mixture.
So I can imagine if it's up to you, you're going to keep working with Brian on these albums.
Absolutely, he's been fantastic to work with. Super nice guy, ridiculously talented. So hopefully we get to work with him again.
After hearing your music, I was so disappointed that I missed the Cincinnati, Ohio show. I hope you'll be coming back to, this area sometime soon.
Absolutely, yeah, because we are our drummer is from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh,
So
cool.
Danny,
Yeah.
he also plays he's drums for Jeff Tate as well.
Mhm.
So we're definitely going to be in Cincinnati a lot because of that, because it's a great starting off point for tour. Um, and the label is based in Columbus,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's really yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say worst case scenario if the show's not in Cincinnati, it's in Columbus. It's only 2 hours, and that's totally worth the drive.
Yeah, so the end of tour show is coming up, and we're doing a free show in Marysville, Ohio.
Ooh,
And that's going to be our last show of the tour, and then we fly home the next day.
that'd be awesome. Before we let you
Yeah.
go, I want to know more about because your music, it's gritty, it's raw, it's energetic. How do you make it that way?
I think just by being authentic, I think being authentic, going in like not overthinking, like just being true and honest to the song without going off into a big world full of effects and stuff like that. If there's a slight bit of the vocal out, I kind of think it's kind of cool to keep it in. I'm not super like auto tune everything and make everything perfect. I like to keep it human feeling.
And when I got one more that kind of I just thought about it. I was like, because in doing the research, they kept referring to you as the Irish rocker Mark Daly. Do you prefer to be called the Irish rocker Mark Daly, or do you want to just be called the rocker? Because, I mean, I see both sides.
Nice one. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I sound super Irish in the music. But yeah, either or is fine.
Exactly. Because on one hand, you're embracing your background, but on the other hand, like you said, in your music, it doesn't seem to be regionalized. It's the world that your music's for.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Well, it has been a pleasure having Mark Daly as our guest on the show, and we appreciate having you. Before we let you go, we're on social media. Where on the web can they find out more about you, Mark?
Our main place is markdailyofficial.com. It has all the dates, music, links, everything. And then all our tour stuff, videos, pictures goes up on Instagram and Facebook under Mark Daily Music.
Awesome.